Would you like to become a fascinating personality, break free from plateaus, and gain power over your mental resources and your full potential? You came to the right place. Welcome to a magical journey to yourself. This show is made in Germany. If you like the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or puremindmagic.club. Welcome to Season 1, Shaping Your Reality. And here is your host, international magician, speaker, and book author, Victoria Mavis.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pure Mind Magic and episode 66, as well as December 15th today of the Advent calendar this year with 24 episodes in 24 days. Today, joining me on the show is really an amazing guest and a topic that is really unique, I would say, to best describe it. So we will talk today about scientific hand analysis. So meaning there is the science behind it. And there was even an article on Forbes magazine about the scientific hand analysis. And my guest today, Jane Sanders, will explain how this can reveal even your purpose, show your special talents, and also show where you can get stuck in life and how to break free again. So you will gain a lot of benefits from listening to this special interview about it. And before we start it, I have another gift tip for you for this day. Today it will be a book recommendation from my side. This is really one of my favorite books, I have to say. And I think the topic fits pretty well with this time of the year. So towards the end of the year, and everyone is making up some New Year's resolutions and big goals for 2019. And the title of the book is Willpower Doesn't Work. So there are the secrets why we can't achieve all the things we have in mind with willpower only, or why we get stuck, or why we give up when we rely on our willpower. Of course, the book will reveal to you the other tricks, how you can make it work and stick with your decisions and really make sure to reach the finish line. So the book is written by Benjamin Hardy, and I'm still trying to get him on the show to discuss everything about in more detail. But so far, this is my book recommendation, Willpower Doesn't Work. Check it out. There will be an Amazon link in the show notes as usual. And now I hope you are well prepared for this interview today. Let's welcome Jane Sanders. Hi, Jane. Welcome to Pure Mind Magic.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, Victoria. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. And Jane, you are really a special guest today because we are talking about scientific hand analysis. It's also my first time that I came across this scientific part of hand analysis, and I can't wait to jump with you into the interview. But before we do, can you give the listeners a short overview who you are and what brought you to this very moment in your life?
Sure. I am now a purpose coach. I help people identify their purpose and gifts and blind spots, and then guide them into the work that's ideal for them so that they love their lives and love their work. And I use the scientific hand analysis as my primary assessment tool. I'm also a law of attraction coach, speaking of mindset. And the way I got into this, my past is corporate, MBA, corporate sales and marketing, and most recently a professional speaker. But after a few years in each career, I don't know if you can relate to this or not, Victoria, but I just hit a wall. I just got bored. I knew there was something I was supposed to do that was different than what I was doing, but I just couldn't figure it out. And I was one of those kids that never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. So in my third career as a professional speaker, and I hit that same place, I was just done with it. I was like, oh no, come on. And I had worked with career coaches. It just wasn't helpful. But I didn't know what to do, so I just kept doing it. And as my heart pulled away from the business, so did the revenue. But I didn't want to invest in it because I didn't want to do it anymore. So I was just in this downward spiral. And then both of my parents passed away just 3 months apart. And it was a real wake-up call. Life is short. So I started Googling, how do I find my life purpose? I knew the articulation of that was what I was missing. And ran across a headline for a teleseminar, and it said, discover your innate life purpose. And I was like, oh, that is like too good to be true. And I clicked on it. And the first words I saw were hand analysis. And I was immediately disappointed. I was serious. I wanted my purpose. And I knew that palm reading wouldn't do that for me. So I kept reading, though, and then I saw the word scientific. And that, for the moment, put aside my anal MBA skepticism. So I listened to the teleseminar, and it was pretty credible, and I really wanted my purpose. So I got a hand analysis, and it changed my life.
Wow, that sounds like a really amazing story, Jane. So I think this is what is so special about the thing, because everyone heard of palm readers, and maybe some of the listeners tried it in a more funny way or at a corporate Christmas party, or I think there are several opportunities you can get your future from the palm of your hands, but you take a completely different approach to it with the scientific background. So can you take the listeners back to the beginning and explain what is scientific hand analysis?
Absolutely. And to answer one of your first questions, it's not palm reading. There's no fortune telling to it, no predictions, other than the one prediction I make is I don't care how good your life is now. If you take action on the information in your hands, it will only get better. So the science, Victoria, is that the lines in your hands actually mimic the neural pathways in your brain. Neurologists are getting involved in this. The gentleman that created this system, and by the way, he spent over 40 years and analyzed over 30,000 hands to put this database together. It's extraordinarily reliable and accurate, enough so that Forbes wrote an article about the work. He wrote a book called Life Prints, as in fingerprints, Life Prints, and the foreword to the book was written by a neurosurgeon from Stanford who he's since retired, but at the time was using scientific hand analysis with his patients. So it is like the words that my clients use is freaky. They call it freaky accurate. It's just, it really is mind-blowing how accurate it is. And it goes deep. It's not about what's coming up in your life. It's more what has happened and pretty much everything about who you are and why you're here.
Wow, that is really a lot. And I heard of something similar with the face, like that there are face readers and they can tell you who you are and where you're going from, the shape of your face and everything that is in your face. But concerning the hands, this is really new information to me as well. So maybe to give the listeners a better picture, how do you work, Jane, when someone approaches you and asks you to help them find their purpose?
So, and I didn't know, I knew about face reading, but I just thought it was personality. I didn't realize there was any where they're going information in that. But anyway, so when I work with people, and I have clients as far away as Singapore, Europe, Canada, I get hand prints. So I mail them a hand printing kit, and they take their prints, just follow the instructions, take the prints, get them back to me. And then we get on a Zoom call, a video call, so that I can show them the markings that I'm talking about. And they learn their innate life purpose, how they're meant to make a difference in the world. Now, clearly, it's not a job description. That would be cuckoo. But it's the concept behind it, and in as much detail and comprehension as possible. It's the most detailed and comprehensive way to learn your purpose. You also learn special gifts you have. There are gift markings in the hand, which indicate extra potential talent in different areas. And these gifts kind of explain the how, the gifts you have to help you fulfill your purpose. And then also the blind spots show up, where to take action to change your life and move through the yucky feelings in your life and help with those patterns that we keep repeating. You know, they might look different, but we all know it's the same stuff underneath, right? So it's an extremely comprehensive session. And people then get the recording of that. They get a summary report that I prepare, and then also a second call, because sometimes questions come up after they sit with it a bit and after they watch the recording, because it's a lot of information. And that's included as well. And then people that, because it's not a job description, people that need help in determining how to use that purpose, what it can look like, the options that they might have for work, and how to get more in alignment with their purpose and love their lives and their work more. That's where my coaching comes into play.
I see. So really interesting how you do that on an international level, sending people the kit to get ready and get them all the information. So what would you say, Jane, are ways you can help when someone, for example, in the corporate world feels really stuck, or as you told, like hitting a wall, and you are feeling that you are losing energy all the time and you can't motivate yourself to go on with your job? How can you help?
So a couple of different ways, Victoria. Because it identifies purpose, we'll know right away whether or not that person is in alignment with purpose. And I'm telling you, if they feel stuck and unmotivated and they just feel awful, they're not on purpose. And most people in the world are not. You know, more than half the world is not, which is why many people are unhappy in their work. So I can help them determine aspects of that work that are more in alignment with purpose. They can choose to redefine their job description and try to get that approved, bring in different projects that they will enjoy more, that will use their gifts and increase their energy and joy. Or they may choose just to leave altogether. And I can tell them different things. Now that takes coaching, but I can tell them, identify for them after some more introspective work with them, different options they might consider that would be on purpose for them. Even just getting them more alignment with their gifts makes them feel better. They might choose to stay where they are and do other things on the side, for example, with volunteer work, to get more in alignment with purpose. So does that help? Does that answer your question, Victoria?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And so, Jane, we talked a lot about career now, our business, and the job. So how can the scientific hand analysis help in private life, like dealing with relationships, maybe a family, your love life?
Yep. Well, first of all, let me give a little bit of, I need to kind of temper that with a little bit of a tiny education thing here. So every marking in the hands has what's called a master path and a student path. Master path feels good. The more master paths you're on, the easier it is to live in alignment with purpose. And being in alignment with purpose, that's the way to that deeper and more consistent joy and fulfillment and meaning that everybody craves. Student paths don't feel so good. Student paths are all the yucky feelings in life. You've mentioned a couple of them. Feeling stuck, bored, overwhelmed, confused, frustrated, procrastinating, angry, sad, depressed, relationship challenges, money issues, health stuff, career problems. All those show up as student paths. And the more student paths you're on, the more challenging it is to experience that more consistent joy and fulfillment. And the kicker is nobody can be on the master path of any marking 100% of the time. Bummer. But we're human, right? We're works in progress. And the idea is to, once you learn what the master paths look like, strive for those. And when you learn what your student paths look like, take action. And that will change your life. So where I'm going with that and why I needed to preface with that is because no student path is in a vacuum. In other words, every student path impacts all aspects of our lives. So the more student paths you're on, the more relationship challenges you're going to have. But there are many relationship concentric places to look in the hands. For example, the heart line. It is the uppermost horizontal line across the hand. Starts underneath the pinky finger and goes across. And where it ends tells me your relationship style, how you communicate in relationship, how you express love and affection, how you want love and affection expressed to you. So it's very helpful to understand your own style, and very helpful to understand anybody that you're in relationship with. And it could be any kind of relationship, but particularly romantic. And there's also, so I'll give you an example from my own life. When I got mine, oh my gosh, it explained so much. It answered so many questions that I didn't even know I had. For example, I learned from my heart line that I need a lot of freedom. And anytime I feel clung to or possessed or controlled in any way, doesn't work. So in high school, when boyfriends would start getting clingy and kind of possessive, that was the end. I couldn't take it. And I thought something was wrong with me because the other girls really liked it when their boyfriends got all clingy and wanted to be with them all the time. Whereas me, it drove me crazy. And so I thought, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I like these other girls? Well, it's just in my design, in my blueprint, that I need a lot of freedom. So that's so important to know in any kind of relationship and to understand about yourself. So the heart line tells us a lot about relationship and where challenges can come in. There are intimacy markers that can show intimacy challenges, several of those. So, and I don't want to go into depth because I'll just be teaching, but yes, it shows up a lot. I can really, if somebody's not having a relationship, I can, and they want one, I can help them understand what is contributing to blocking that. What I can't tell them is when, and that's something I don't want to do anyway. I hope soon. But I can, but I don't know.
So you're also work in progress when it comes to your skills around the scientific hand analysis.
Well, there is no way to determine that in this modality.
Of course, yeah. But I think it helps that you are also a coach of the law of attraction, because I think it really can help when you have the scientific background and know your blockages, and also, on the other hand, know what you want and think the right thoughts, so that when you bring both worlds together, I think that you can really create a good alignment and help to accelerate the manifesting process.
Absolutely. Well said. I love the law of attraction. It just continually changes my life, and I automatically use it without intention with my clients, and it changes their lives. I mean, my coaching clients start feeling better and enjoying their lives more after one session. Wow. Because they're using the law of attraction. People know about it, but they're not intentionally using it.
Yes, so there's one thing knowing something and the other thing implementing something,
Yeah. And just like with the hand analysis, Victoria, if they don't implement the information, they're not going to get nearly the results and positive change that they could. Sometimes things just automatically change. When they open a door like that, just sometimes other doors open, people come in their lives, things get set in motion, if you understand what I mean. But the more action they take, the more results they're going to get. That goes with anything, right? Not just the hand analysis, but also with coaching.
Yes, that is true. And I think emotion is really energy in motion. So it fits here very well. So Jane, would you say that when someone comes to you who is in a relationship or marriage and they have some difficulties and challenges there, that you can really help them to transform the relationship and save the relationship after they know where the blockages is or how they behave in a relationship?
So sometimes, Victoria, I want to be very careful here and make it clear. I am not a therapist. I am not a relationship coach. What I can help them identify is understanding each other a lot better and each other's needs and where they're getting tripped up. Then it's up to them to take action on those things. And I can put that into coaching, into a coaching program, whatever somebody's goals are, and work toward that. So it certainly can get better, but I don't want to sit here and say that I can save somebody's relationship. Does that make sense?
Of course, yeah. And I think no one can. It depends on the relationship, and there are always two parts involved in a relationship. So, yeah, it's just maybe showing them where the blockage is, because as you said as well, sometimes I think there are blind spots you can't see yourself. And then it's helpful when you get another perspective from the outside, like from a coach, mentor, or whatever. So we covered the career and now also the love life, relationships. And I think what interests the listeners as well is money. So how can you help with money?
The big one.
Sure.
We actually call like the major student paths in the hands your money map. Because when you take action on those major student paths, it impacts everything in a positive way. And then you combine that with my law of attraction, things just start getting better. One of my current clients just was really having trouble and just got a job. I mean, like in less than 3 sessions. And that was using law of attraction and really getting clear on what she wanted. So all the student paths impact everything. And there are a few markings specific to money, not as many as relationship, because we're human and we are all about relationships. But there are some things to look at in the hands relevant to money and understanding of it. And it shows up as ability to use resources well and generate resources and, use systems and structures. Things like that. There's a possible marking or an area in the hand that's called money in the bank. So it's the middle, I'll just tell you, it's the middle joint of the middle finger. And when you print, it's hard to tell when you just look at your hands, but when you take handprints, and that is like particularly thin compared to other sections of other fingers, or particularly wide, I mean, the bigger, the more energy is how it works in hands. Then you have more capacity for money in the bank. And if there are little horizontal lines across that section of your middle finger, that's resistance. Those are called no lines, N-O lines. Whereas if there's vertical lines, those are called yes lines. That allows the flow of money more easily into your life. So there's just a few of the possible things. But the money map is taking action on the big student paths in your hands. And there is one biggie called the life lesson. That's what I call the big kahuna student path in your hand. That's the number one thing that blocks anybody from that more consistent joy and fulfillment. It's the greatest obstacle. Learning that, to me, is worth the cost of the whole hand analysis. And this is not $100 palm reading. This is your purpose for the rest of your life. This is a big deal.
Yeah, that is so strong. Really a big deal. So, Jane, I, as a magician, came across books, and I have to confess that I never read them, but they are called like palm reading for magicians. So approaching it from an entertaining way. And obviously what you are doing is completely different than that. I just have a question in my mind because, magicians always think differently and we think in reverse engineering. So what would you say? In some of the books, you find the information that the lines in the hands change over life. So when someone now gets aware of the blockages they might have and take massive action to make changes in their lives, would you say that you can see that afterwards as results and different lines in the hands?
They probably wouldn't notice it, but I probably would.
Amazing.
And it doesn't show up in everybody, but some people, for example, when I was going through level 2 training, I'm level 4 now, by the way, which is the highest possible. It means I'm teaching it now, and I'm a master hand analyst. And that's just from the sheer number of hand analysis that I've conducted. But when I went through level 2, that was a year long. And when you dive that deep into the hands to learn it, then you're going deep into yourself. A lot of introspection, and you change. You're going to transform. And we were taking our prints every 3 months because we could see little changes in our hands. Now, I do want to clarify that we get a lot of information as well from the fingerprints, which are formed in utero and never change, or, the FBI would be in deep doo-doo, right? So the fingerprints never change. What can change is where you are student to master path. And again, nobody's ever 100% on the master path, but you can be closer to that end of the spectrum more often, which will definitely positively impact your life. So, and there is some overlap with palm reading, by the way. So I don't want to bash palm reading. It's all comes from the ancient art of palmistry is a big piece of it. But palm reading relies more on the intuitive skill of the reader, and scientific hand analysis does not. Many hand analysts do happen to be intuitive, but they're going with the database.
Yeah, I see.
More predominantly, yeah.
So, but to wrap that up, that really means like that the future of someone is not put in stone. Like, for example, when you have only a small money line, there are ways when you really take action, like there might be the possibility to turn it into a bigger line.
Yes. Like there are people in Asia that I've been told if you hold up your hand and then pull your thumb down as far as it will get away from the index finger, the wider that angle, the more capacity you have to get results and get things done and experience success. And there are some people who have massaged and massaged and massaged and loosened that connection where the thumb is to help their thumb drop down more, to help bring more results into their lives. And it works. It's freaky.
Wow, that is kind of crazy, spooky. I don't know. Yeah, but I think this is, that fits with Asian people, because I know that's a different culture, and it's also that they do almost everything to be number one in a certain area, or get their children to be number one, and they would pay a lot of money for that. No one in Europe would do that, because they would say, okay, the school will take care of it. So they are different. I know that. And also when it comes to magic, there are magicians from Asia who really train 8 hours a day, like sleight of hand. And I think this is crazy. I know no magician in the United States or in Europe who does something like that for like month and month to come. So yeah, different, but really interesting, everything you shared so far. And Jane, I think we could talk on for hours, and the
I
audience.
still love talking about it. I know that. I speak about it all the time.
Yeah, so you have found your purpose, that's for sure.
Yes.
And now I won't wait to hand all the information over to the listeners. Where can they find you, connect with you, and get some of your amazing services all around scientific hand analysis?
My website is purposewisdom.com. And that has a lot of information on it, even personal stuff, because I'm a horse freak, and it's got lots of pictures and stories of horses, and more information about hand analysis, my coaching, lots of testimonials, links to buy. But I will say right now that if somebody listens to your podcast, Victoria, and contacts me through my website and tells me they heard about me through your website or through your podcast, I will give them a nice discount.
Wow, that is a magical offer, and so nice of you, Jane. Thank you for that.
You bet.
To come full circle, because of the Pure Mind Magic podcast, before I hit the record button, you told me that you already accomplished a lot of things today, and it's still morning in your time zone. Here it is already evening. So what are your best tips on improving your mindset, that you feel more productive, get more results, and get really things done without procrastination?
Well, number one, law of attraction. Just the whole idea, even more important than what you think, is how you feel. So that includes making time for yourself to do things you love so that it raises your emotional vibration. I always, unless I have a very important morning meeting, I make sure that I go see my horse, even for 15 minutes, to give him some loving. He has to have lipstick on his face. Okay, that's one of my goals. So that I plant a big kiss on his face every time I go, and give him treats and loving, and he lifts my emotional vibration, because the more you lift your vibration and feel better, the more the universe is going to send you to feel better about. I've also learned the more I take time for myself, without overindulging, of course, the more productive I am. So I'm really busy. I have a lot of appointments, and I shouldn't even say I'm really busy, because that's not good from law of attraction standpoint. But, I have got my schedule down, and it would seem crazy with all the appointments I have that I would take time to ride my horse for an hour on a Monday morning or a Friday morning. But when I do, I get more done. So just overall, because I'm taking care of myself and I'm not getting burnt out, and I'm doing things that lift my emotional vibration, it impacts me positively in every aspect of my life. So my tip is, whatever it takes to make you feel just a little bit better, if that's turning on dance music and dancing around in your dining room, if that's looking at a photo of somebody you love or a pet that you love, just whatever you can do to just boost that up a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more, it will change your life.
Wow, that are really some magical tips you shared there with us, and everyone can directly imply that from that very moment. Jane, thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and your knowledge with me and the audience today. That was really amazing. And as I said in the beginning, a really special episode with a special topic. So I would love to stay in contact with you and maybe even bring you back to Pure Mind Magic one day.
That would be awesome, Victoria. I really enjoyed it. You've asked great questions and it's been really fun. So thank you. And of course I would come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Pure Mind Magic today and my interview with Jane Sanders. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Willpower Doesn't Work, the gift tip of today. Tomorrow you will listen to another great interview with Janice Chaka, someone I met in person too this year. Janice is a career coach. She's traveling a lot. She's working as a speaker worldwide. She's really an expert when it comes to meetups and has also all the cool tricks about how you can upgrade your LinkedIn profile and even turn that into a sales page. So a more business related interview tomorrow, but with some great advice for you or for today. Talk to you tomorrow. Until then, create some magic.